Decent map for Zeus. Got the double water. I think the biggest thing here is the side lanes. On Mediterranean are very limited, so it's of all the maps in the game, I think this is probably the easiest to sort of stalemate your opponent on land, preventing him from attacking and advancing forward. So with a double Zeus versus double Uranus matchup like this on this map, if Berserker and Mister can just control the sides, get their third town centers, and then take it to late game, it's pretty much a guaranteed win for them. They don't need to worry about the pressure of an open map from the Uranus players potentially hurting them. On this map, it's a lot easier to control these small choke points on the side, especially if you were to win water, which with the 2 restorations and increased ship range plus their micro skills, I wouldn't be surprised to see them win water as well. The exception to that is if VK overcommit water. I'm sure Mista and Berserker will be happy to just take a town center land and boom, and force the game late that way. I think the only way they really can lose this is if they get caught on land. Meaning VK attack on land before they're expecting it, and then take map control as a result, or knock them off of gold. Not a lot of space in between them. They haven't scouted it yet, but we'll have to see if there are any safe back gold mines there or not. Looks like usually the maps are the same on both sides. They're not perfect, but generally you'll have equal amounts of gold, and then if there's a gold dip behind on one side, it'll typically be behind on the other. Map screws do happen, and it's random, but generally this fact that there's a large gold mine here, yeah, means there's more than likely going to be at least one back here as well, which turned out to be true. Other thing you always want to check on this map, whether you're playing 1 vs 1 or a team game, is which town centers are within water range. That can really influence your decision in terms of whether you want to go heavy on water or not. If you've got 3 landlocked town centers like Berserker does, giving up water isn't really a big deal for him. Whereas if you're Mista, I think this is out of water range. I think just barely out of water range, if I had to guess. When they're that distant, it's a little trickier to tell. It's not obvious, but I think that one's out of water range. I'm almost certain that one's out of water range. This one's probably the closest, and I think this one would probably be in water range. So what I'm talking about is seed ships. Once you get to Mythic and then get the seed ship upgrade, it increases their range drastically and allows you to pick off town centers that are close to water. So it's a very easy way to take them down, as opposed to having to take them down by land. In water, you just get 3 seed ships. There's nothing really blocking your path in water, and then you can just easily get in range and take down a town center in a matter of seconds. So it's much more preferable to have your town centers away from water, so you don't have to worry about that threat. And then ultimately it can decide how much effort you put into water and controlling it. If you've got safe town centers like Berserker, you basically can give it up without worrying. However, if you had a town center or even 2 in water range, giving it up could prove costly. And then it's not just winning it, but you've got to control it throughout the game, because they can pop ships out at any second. So I don't think it'll play that much of a factor into this map, especially with the skill gap between these players, but just worth talking about as we wait for the players to get classical and the action to really start happening. Alright, so Mista's up 65, Berserker's up nearly identical builds. Yeah, they're using almost exact same build, so any Zeus players out there looking for a good build order, this might be a wreck to watch. The other thing, there are no fast heroics here, just pure classical. armies by, you can tell by the fact that they've got all their villagers on wood and gold, so. Zeus does have the potential of going fast heroic for Scalas, but that's not something you'll typically see in team games, because while you're doing that, your teammate will lose water and all his fishing, so team games are almost always classical arrow ship fighting for all civs, even Egyptian. Whereas 1 versus 1, you'll see fast heroics a lot more. Both sides advance extremely early, so they stalemate each other almost instantly. And what I mean by that is neither side was able to knock the opponent off their fishing. If you advance faster than your opponent, typically you can force him to garrison his fishing ships in his dock, and then he loses out on the economic benefits of the fishing ships while you're fighting, since you've got him like turtling, but both sides met midway, so neither side lost any fishing ships. Bit of miss micro there from Berserker running into his opponent. Another little thing, this game, yeah, it's live. Typically you don't really attack move in this game because the command's a bit buggy, especially at close range, so pretty much all movement will be just standard move to an area command, and then players will re-micro and manually right-click attack, so that's why you see a miss micro like Berserker had there at times when a player just will move across the map. Shockwaves on both sides. Mista getting caught a bit here, but yep, we'll see the restoration out of Mista. I guess the range on that restoration's huge. Berserker got a little bit of benefit from it as well, being all the way on the other side of the island. Double team coming from Mista. This is extremely effective if green doesn't catch on. Green's sitting back. TL wisely moves back. If he got flanked completely and surrounded from both sides, he would have lost almost everything, while green's still not in position to help him out. Very nice double team from the Mista here. It's one of the strongest things you can do in team games is double your opponent, especially if your opponents don't see it coming, because they'll be caught out of position and unable to help, and meanwhile you'll be fighting 2 versus 1, and the amount of damage you do fighting 2 versus 1 is significant if your opponents are slow to react, which happened there. At least green was a bit slow. Teal pulled back a bit, but even then. This also isn't too good either. Teal's basically corner 2 versus 1, so he's going to lose everything in an extremely cost-ineffective trade. Green's raiding the fishing of Mista, but the problem with fishing raids is you can just garrison the fishing ships in the docks, and then you don't really take any losses. Meanwhile, Teal's losing his entire army in the process. So at this point, PK has 1 water. Teal's pretty much completely knocked off all his fishing, lost his entire army, so if you're VK at this point, you've got to be thinking I need to get a town center on land as soon as possible, otherwise I'm just going to fall further behind economically. PK's going to have all their fishing. They didn't lose any of their fishing, so they've already got twice as many villagers, so at this point, if you're VK, you're behind in production significantly, and you need to catch up by taking early second town center and getting additional vills out. Doesn't look okay. Green's got the second town center coming. Still no second town center from Teal. What we're seeing from VK is the one alternative you potentially have. Instead of taking a second town center, you can try to get your opponent overcommitting to water and attack him by land. However, that's a more risky strategy, I'd say, because if you don't catch them on land and do a lot of damage, then their economy is just going to be so much stronger that the game will be over soon, unless you do significant damage. Especially with Berserker on 2 town centers now against Teal's 1. Teal really needs to potentially, the big thing for Teal would be gold starving him. if Teal isn't able to gold starve Berserker with the fishing and 2 town centers to 1. Berserker's just going to overpower him if he can secure a second gold at some point. The thing that's unfortunate for PK is they've only got 1 back gold mine, and it's right against the edge of the map, so you can't even mine from that other half effectively. I'd say. Okay, it looks like Mista's going for it first, but which is good because Mista. I think Mista's in the tighter battle. Green's got the second town center and will be able to apply a lot more pressure than Teal. Whereas Mista's second gold, if he doesn't take this back one, is down here, fairly out in the open, so this is gonna get interesting. Yeah, Berserker's going for it too. I don't know if they had scouting information that they base this attack off of, but in terms of gold starving, this is working out extremely well for VK. Say if you let Berserker get that TC, that'd be bad, but good scouting. They don't have ceasefires either. Berserker's still got a restoration, but no ceasefire that'll help him take the town center. Down to 400 gold there for Mista. Berserker's out of gold. They're just squeezed in this mine where 9 villagers apiece on gold isn't what you want at this point in the game. Maybe fit a few more on the edge here, but you're also going to get villagers stuck in pathing issues potentially. Having 2 players there just makes it even more likely that you'll encounter pathing issues. Okay, Green knows the gold's down there and he's got sight of it, so that's good. I wonder, did Teal scout this gold mine at the bottom here, or can Berserker sneak to it? This is getting tricky for PK though. Neither player is heroic either, so they don't have the ability to trade their excess food or wood, or get trade caravans going either. This is really all they have for gold income. And I wouldn't tell it's like a tough gold situation, but it's not significantly worse for PK. It's not like VK had 2 mines back here and PK had 1. Both teams had 1 mine, although this mine here for Green, I'm sure PK would love to have a mine position like that on their side. Mista would have had secured that by now, but not the case. A lot of the gold's up here near Green. Green's just got to keep trading. Okay, Mista got heroic, so that's gonna give him a lifeline. He can get his trade going and also trade his excess food. With all the fishing Mista has, he probably has a ton of food income, so he can trade some of that for gold. Okay, here we go. Green taking a 4th town center though, so this is what I talked about early in the game, where the only way PK could really lose that was if they lost the map control, which is now the case. Teal also with map control down here. I'd like to see Teal building those barracks around this town center and trying to fortify that position rather than up here. Okay, restoration from Berserker being used to help Mista out in this battle here. Mista's still in a bit of trouble. Has he gotten a market up since going heroic? Yeah, he's got the market. Teal's gotta be careful here. He doesn't want to overcommit and then give up the map control to Berserker. Okay, at least Teal just got heroic. Green, I think, especially with the 4 town. Oh, okay, Underworld coming out from Mista. Right onto Green's 3rd town center. Also where most of the gold on the map is located too. Kind of a slow response from Green. They're already in position attacking by the time he pulled back. Okay, and a double team too. Berserker going through as well. I also like the fact that they targeted Green with the Underworld double team instead of focusing on Teal. Green's the stronger of the two at the moment, so he's the one you want to deal damage to. The fact that Teal's production is back a bit actually might work in his favor, and that he can respond a teeny bit quicker. Also nice use of arrow ships here, picking off units as they run by. Green catching Mista out of position a bit here. Gonna pick off a lot of the talks. The Dryad's coming, and the limited melee units left. It looks like Green will take that town center. I was gonna say Blue is about to get trapped, but here comes Mista back through the Underworld. Teal is almost there. Surprised we didn't see villagers come through to try to fortify their position at all. With either tower spam or taking a town center. I guess they haven't really had the time yet. And again, they were pretty significantly gold starved. Mythic from Berserker and a lightning storm coming out. Mista also getting mythic with another lightning storm available as well. Green still has some army positioned to the side ready to come back in. Teal's here as well. The town center's living. That's a huge save from Green right there, keeping that town center up. Another lightning storm coming out. This one's gonna hurt a bit. This one, the first one, Green had units pulled back that were out of the range, but this second lightning storm hit all of Green and Teal's units. Now the question will be, can they push them back and finish off this Underworld to stabilize? I missed it down here, but I think Mista, yeah, went back through the Underworld and took out this town center of Green as well. Green's still on 2 town centers, although he's extremely close, and I think as soon as Mista goes through the Underworld passage, Green will be down to 1 town center again. The trade's also going for Berserker and Mista. Again, winning water fairly cleanly, getting the heroic fishing upgrades. At least Mista does. They're going to have tons of food income, so as long as they can secure some gold with the Greek unit superiority, Hops Atlantean don't really have a counter to, unless they get Arcus out. But they're still mostly classical army at the moment in Green. Okay, both players are heroic. But Mystic can do a lot of damage with his Hop army running around, picking off town centers extremely quickly. Really like this palace coming up from Teal, and a tower as well, so even with all that chaos going on, Teal still isn't giving up the map control to Berserker. Green still has very limited control over here as well. Mista's getting caught out here. These hops are kinda gonna get run down by the birds and everything. Underworld passage at full health. The villager repair rate is just so ridiculous on that. 3 or 4 villagers repaired the thing to full health. Mista Mista taking heavy losses. That was 18 hops that are just dying for absolutely nothing. I mean, they distracted Teal a bit and let him get the underworld up, but he has lost everything for virtually nothing. What do Mr. and Berserker have planned? Green taking his third back, the underworld's about to go down. I completely missed it. When did Berserker use his underworld? Okay, so I'm not crazy, it wasn't an aggressive one, so I guess Berserker used his underworld to get over to Mista's underworld, so he could go support him sooner? Okay, that's what happened. So Mista casted it and came through, and then Berserker came through fairly quickly, and I guess he came through so quickly because he used his own underworld to get over to Mista's underworld. This is gonna be close. Green's gotta focus the units as well. He can't go pure town. I know he doesn't want the town center going up, but if he just focuses the town center too much, he's gonna lose the fight. Mista's got a lot of units here. Still no upgrades. Heavy infantry, but upgradeless. Teal. Ugh. Bit of a mismicro there from Teal, moving all the way in and through Mista's army. So yeah, like I talked about earlier, okay, I'm glad my rant earlier about town centers being within water range wasn't for naught. This town center was in water range and Berserker used siege ships to pick it off. That's what happened down there. Teal's done a good job of fortifying this position and keeping Berserker from getting his third town center. Birds gonna be able to clean this all up. Odysseus is attacking the town center and not the birds. Those birds should be able to kill Odysseus, he's so low. Berserker does get the villager down though, which is gonna slow the town center from going up. And heavy tower spam and siege spam. Berserker down here. Teal's gonna have a hard time holding this with that many towers. Yeah, you've now got nearly full map length trade going, at least for Mista. I don't think Berserker's trade is as long, but that's gonna give them the gold incomes they need to crank out their Greek armies. The armor upgrades are starting to come in for Mista. That's the downside of going Hera, is that you don't get the free armory upgrades, but Lightning Storm is extremely strong, whereas the Plenty Vault is just more of a defensive god power, so they use the double Lightning Storm aggressively, and with the water control and their trade going now, they should have the economy to get the upgrades at full cost on their own without any issues. Interesting use of Tartarian Gate there. I guess he was concerned about getting pushed, and this will slow the push a little bit. At the same time, the gate's attacking some of his own structures too, so... Titan coming out from Berserker. Okay, so You might be wondering, like I just was quickly, why wasn't that cast closer to the town center? I think that was more mainly to disrupt the trade more than anything. A lot of times you'll cast the gate near a town center so that the units will eventually pick that up. But here it's just going to disrupt the trade and hopefully do some decent damage. Try to see how they plan on responding and killing it. I don't see anything at the moment. Vista continuing to raid with his infantry. Catching a lot of villagers here. One thing that concerns me a lot is green doesn't have any trade, or virtually no trade for that matter. Starting to get the trade upgrade and stuff, but I don't know what green's gold income's like at the moment. Without trade 25 minutes into the game, it's going to be hard to keep up, especially with Mista and Berserker having heavy trade going for quite a while now. And that's game. So I think the biggest thing there was just the strength of the Greek players as the game moved on. That and the fact that they won water so relatively cleanly and in their favor without losing any really fishing ships. Gave them really strong food economy. Got a bit interesting with the gold starve situation, but ultimately Mist and Berserker were able to utilize that back mine to extend their lifespan a bit and get heroic.